We're really happy to welcome you to this Tuesday morning online Eurythmy session. As you know from having enough Zoom experience, when you start, you have to be put in a so-called waiting room, and Michelle has just enabled all of you to come streaming in. I like to make a nice visual imagination of you actually being here with me physically, coming streaming into the room, giving each other hugs and warm greetings, putting your things away, putting on your Eurythmy shoes, and getting ready to start Eurythmy with me, with one another. It's lovely to have you with me here today. And it's okay to give our appreciation and gratitude to those beings, those spiritual beings who have done service to humanity by making it possible to be enchanted into little computers and be in service of our technology. So rather than curse the digital world, thank you, beings who sacrifice, for making this Eurythmy possible online. We have 230 people signed up from around the world. And as I'm watching these little notes come in, you're watching too, people signing in. We have people from India, from Norway, and then of course from here in California. It's really fun to imagine us spread around the world, joining in consciousness in simultaneous time in far distant places. Dear friends, I'm Cynthia Hoven, and I've been a Eurythmy teacher for many, many decades. It's my art, it's my passion, it's my spiritual, daily, meditative work. And I'm so happy to share it with you. It's a way of creating a real sense of balance and inwardness, a sense of presence, mindful movement, and also in doing so, strengthening your own etheric forces, your own forces of health and alignment with the spirit. There are about, 40, 50 of the participants who signed in, who said that they've never done Eurythmy before. And so I'd like to take a few moments to talk about Eurythmy again. And for those of you who've already done Eurythmy, can you think back to when Eurythmy was new to you? Or to that moment when that spark in you happened where you said, I get it, and I really want to go deeper with this. And so let's take a moment to delight the newcomers and speak a little bit about what it is. So Eurythmy is a modern path, a modern practice of mindful movements. And it's born out of spiritual science, the anthroposophy created and articulated by Rudolf Steiner. We could possibly call Eurythmy a movement meditation because every movement in Eurythmy is born directly out of the laws and understanding and love that made the human being. It's a modern path. We do it in standing, unless a patient is ill and needs to do it in sitting or lying. But in general, we do it as a standing practice with our eyes open, learning to be fully present in the way that we wear our body on earth. Isn't that wonderful? When we understand in Eurythmy that our deepest core is a spiritual essence, which is a microcosmic spark coming from the spirit that created everything. And the spark in us is living in the sheaths of our body, of our living body, during the time when we're on earth. And we can make this spark that we are do different things, have different kinds of biographies. We could live just according to the pleasures and joys of this earthly life, or we can work on evolving our own selves in spirit to the Creator in service. So we understand that our core is spirit. We live in the temple of the body, and Mediating between the two, between our eternal and our temporal, is our soul, that self that we're working on. We can choose to awaken, we can work on awakening and align our spirit with the eternal virtues of truth, beauty, and goodness. We work on our soul, our thinking, our feeling, and willing by aligning it with these eternal goals and, wherever necessary, tempering the passions that might lead us to work in a less than human way. And then we work into the body to sustain and create health so we can live as long as we can, as healthily as we can. And in the journey of Eurythmy, we're working on aligning all of these. So it's a perfect personal practice, an extract of your day in time in which you are conscious of higher laws. You're working on developing your soul, your thinking, your feeling and willing, to nourish it with deep truths. And in everything in Eurythmy, you're coordinating that with your body. And then when you move through your life, you can more or less forget what you've learned in Eurythmy, but its effects on your bodies, all of them, is sustained throughout the course of your day as you are healthier, more confident, more trusting in faith of the guidance of your destiny and your ability to work effectively on the earth. So this is the path of Eurythmy, and it's always been my dream that people around the world should be able to do Eurythmy. It offers so much, but there simply aren't enough of us Eurythmists. There are a few thousands, but to deal with the billions of people in the world, how could that happen? And at a certain point in my work 8 years ago, someone pleaded with me to make an online Eurythmy work. And I said, it shouldn't be done. It can't be done. Eurythmy needs to be done alive. But then becoming aware of all the people who can't do Eurythmy because they don't have a live teacher, I said, if it's to be done, we need to do it in such a way that in teaching, in what I teach to you, I teach you so carefully and with such living images that you can learn how to do things on your own. That you will be able to turn off the computer and practice all of these things as you learn to feel your own etheric body, your own astral body, as you learn to feel your core. So that's the journey, and I give so many instructions for how to do this. So 8 years ago, I created the Eurythmy website, Eurythmy Online, which has over 55 deeply comprehensive lessons on Eurythmy, eurythmyonline.com. And then when the coronavirus happened, this whole project had to take a new step, because in this new time, we really need to reach out actively to more people. And so with that, we've created these daily or these weekly webinars, which give you the tools for your daily practice. Hopefully, you'll find a way to do Eurythmy every day, 5 to 15 or 20 minutes every day. Now, with respect to these Eurythmy online webinars, I create them in series, 6 lessons to a series. This is the 3rd series. Each series has its own theme. The first one was a series of immune support exercises. The second one culminated in the beautiful Hallelujah meditation. And this one has the soul exercises and copper rod exercises, which I'll get back to in just a moment. As you've seen, if you have signed up, or because you've signed up in time, you've received a PDF. And the PDF, a link to a PDF, which is posted on my website, that PDF has very in-depth explanations of what we're going to do each week. And the PDFs are built upon each week until by the last week we have the whole series of exercises. I'll send that link out again later today. The other thing that happens is that after this webinar, I edit the recording and then I'll upload it, and I'll send you the link to that as well. So in half a day or so, you'll get the link to the recording, which will be on a new platform called Spotlighter, and you'll get the link to reading the PDF file again. So that's in preparation. Now I want to talk to you for a moment about copper rods. I chose to build the copper rod exercises into this series because work with copper rods has been part of the Eurythmy practice since the very first days. And I know that not all of you have been able to get a copper rod. So let me speak a little bit to that. I hope you'll stick with us. I have put information on the website about how to get a copper rod. Let me reach over here. This is my copper rod made specifically for Eurythmy. You'll find the instructions on the PDF and on the mailing that you get. It says that this is 31, it's actually between 31 and 36 inches long, but I think 36 is too tall for most people. And this has been custom made. Can you imagine? Little wonderful artisans in Switzerland make these, or Germany, make these wonderful copper rods. Weighs about 8 ounces. In our previous webinars, I told you that you can Google, you can do an internet search, and you might be able to find some of these excellent rods in online stores. I think maybe even Amazon. And there's a wonderful eurythmist named Leonore Russell who also sells them. But I hear that they're back ordered. So there's another very viable option, and that is to go to your hardware store and get a copper rod. You can just have them cut a piece of copper piping for you. And then you want to see if you can buy these little rubber tips to put on the end. It's okay if you can't, but if you can find them, they're really good. And that is a much less expensive option, but the rods aren't as beautiful. But this rod costs $5. Someone said he got it for $5. Another option is to get a wooden dowel of the same size. Or even here, I don't have a dowel, but I have a bamboo stick about the same size. The disadvantage of this is that it's not heavy enough to give me a real sense. So the copper is much better. And the copper also has very particular qualities of warmth that are healing in and of themselves. Can't get a wooden dowel of that size. My co-host Michelle and I were brainstorming last night and said, in the last resort, you can saw off your broom handle, or you could take a mop with an expandable handle and take part of that. I hope you'll have a rod by next week. Stay with us today in any case for the rod exercises and build upon it when you finally do get a rod. I even said for some of the things we're doing today, some of them it's possible to use, believe it or not, a pencil. But that won't work for the things we'll do in subsequent weeks. Thank you. After all these words, I'm ready to begin with you. We'll do Eurythmy for 45 minutes, and at the end of this series, we'll take 15 minutes for conversation, for questions and clarification. Then you should take a rest afterwards before you go on to the rest of your day, if that's possible. And then you'll look at the lessons later in the PDF and practice and practice. The things that I've given you today will be picked up again in each of the subsequent weeks so that you'll be able to improve them and work on them with more complicated variations. Are you ready? Please stand in your chosen space. I prefer to have a space with a minimum of distractions. I prefer to have a space where I can take the nice 8 steps forwards and 8 backs. If you have that much room, that's great. I hope you at least have space for 4 steps. And just because we're getting started on the day, please take a wonderful stretch. Loosen up your muscles. Shake it out. Do whatever you need to. And now, to help us to become more present, I will speak the words of the Eurythmy meditation, a particular meditation given to Eurythmy. And it says, I seek within me creative forces working, creative powers living. The heavy weight of earth tells me through the word of my feet. The forming power of the air tells me through the singing of my hands. The strength of heaven's light tells me through the thinking of my head how the great world in the human being speaks, sings, thinks. Now I feel myself inwardly, and I get ready for my movement practice. Again, following what I've written on the PDF, our first exercise consists of doing in Eurythmy 3 sounds, E, A, O. And there are many ways we can do this series of 3 sounds, but I'm going to do them with you in the way that they were taught in the therapeutic Eurythmy exercises, a particular variation to balance thinking, willing, and feeling. So I begin by forgetting or releasing out of my upright position. Some Eurythmists might actually bend at the waist, but I won't ask you for that. I'll just ask you to kind of go soft. Now stand straight. Standing straight. Feel, you don't have to move your arm, I'm telling you what to feel. Feel your upright accent. Feel as if it's ringing with meaning, with light, with intention, and your whole space is ringing with an experience that is the same as the sound we. If you've done Eurythmy, you know you don't speak it. You hear it in your inner mind and speak it through your body. Second step, we do the sound ah. Step to the right, step to the left. Try to notice how far apart my feet are. Not too wide, but definitely wide enough to be firmly balanced on the earth. Feel that your movement is going from here through your legs. I haven't lost my uprightness, but through my legs I am speaking loudly. Ah. Again, don't speak with your mouth. Speak only through your body intention. Now, without losing that, the third one. Oh. Make a great heartfelt circle of love through the forces of your feeling. And now, one by one, we release these movements. Release the O. Release the Ah. Release the E. And again. We. Ah. Oh. Release. Release. We. Ah. Oh. Release. Now, to become a little more lively and a little less intellectual or conceptual, we're going to speed this up bit by bit. Yee. Now put your legs apart, but more quickly. Ah. Oh. Away, away, away. Again. Yee. Ah. Oh. Away, away, away. Now, with a small jump, if you can, just do the fast step. Yee. Ah. Oh. Away, away, away. Eat. Ah. Oh. Away, away, away. Upright, down, middle. Away, away, away. Eat. Ah. Oh. Away, away. Now we'll go slowly. Eat. Ah. Oh. Away, away, away. One last time. Yee. Full of meaning. Ah. And oh. Away. Ah. Away. And standing, reflect on what you have now done, meaning not with your head, just feel yourself upright, present, sparkling. We'll continue now with our movements by learning the threefold walking practice, essential for our work in Eurythmy. Again, I'll take a moment to welcome those who are new into the practice, but please take the time to read deeply thoughts and instructions on your PDF. When we walk through life, friends, we can just unfortunately slough our body along, but in Eurythmy, we awaken all the way into the way that we walk on Mother Earth. And so each step in Eurythmy becomes a conscious deed. At first we do it slowly, but in time we learn to move with this Eurythmy, grace and skill at any speed. But now in the beginning, we do a practice of mindful movement. Be aware of your three centers, your head, your heart, your legs. Now tell your legs inwardly, now it's time for you to get the attention you deserve. Let's practice walking, but very slowly, friends. Begin by lifting your foot, but only from the heel to the toe. I'll turn sideways. Lift your foot, but only like this. Keep it on the ground. Overcome gravity. Again, lift your foot. Now take your step, but take it as if you're moving your foot in a very small arc over a little tiny wooden bridge. Find the floor with the toe of your foot, not with the heel, very important. With the toe, and then give your weight to the earth in gratitude, heel, arch, toe. And then the other foot rises. So arch, heel takes a small step and raises. Right. And I'll take 4 steps forward and 4 back. I lift my foot, carry, connect, raise. I free myself from the earth and from gravity. I walk towards my destiny. I connect with the earth. Lift, carry, raise, lift, carry, and place. Now to stay on my screen, I need to walk back after 4 steps. Lift, carry, raise, lift, carry, raise, lift, carry, legs, lift, carry, and legs. Try that again. Lifting from behind, carrying, legs. Lifting from behind, moving, and lift. Lift, carry, legs, lift, carry, legs. And backwards. And to begin with, I learned to keep my arms still because all of my expressivity has to be on my feet now. You have to learn something new, how to walk and move, carry legs. My arms are still and my head is flat. In fact, often in beginners classes, we practice putting a copper rod on the head to make sure that we're actually standing very straight and balanced. But having said that, we also have to remember to breathe. And each step can be a breath. That I inhale here and I exhale here. I have a wonderful sense that I'm breathing through my foot. When I exhale into the earth. She accepts me. Gratitude. Come backwards. Carry legs. Carry legs. Lift. Carry legs. And legs. Thank you. Now, if you have a copper rod, reach over and pick it up now. If you don't, pencil, you can use that. If you don't have a rod at all, but you can still just keep walking with your arms at your side, that's also fine. But I want to take the next step and show you how you can enhance this practice, the second step, by accompanying the little circles with your feet with small circles with your arms. So as I lift my foot, also my rod rises. As I carry, my rod arcs forward, my place breathing out, breathing through my foot. Now the heel and my rod rise, carry, and place. Lift, carry, place, exhale, inhale, carry, and lift. Now I shall go backwards, and now the direction of the rod reverses. Lift, carry, legs, lift, carry, legs, lift, carry, legs, lift, carry. Again, forwards. I told you in previous lessons, if you were ever to do a Eurythmy practice outside, this would be the one to choose. Not other ones necessarily, but with this one, you can practice walking barefoot on the grass. And I told you, you can practice this for hours. And one of the students from Austin said, practice the people walking for 1 hour every day. There's a woman who had cancer, and says this would really help. So see how deeply you can go with this practice. Remember to stand straight. Eyes open. Feel your body, even if you should be outside in nature. Your intention is to feel your body. And backwards. Carry legs. Lift. Carry legs. Finished. I'll put my rod to the side. We're going to go on to the next exercise, which continues this theme of getting more deeply into the feet. Dear friends, especially if you've done other classes with me, You know that Eurythmy becomes really gorgeous when we start doing inspirational sounds and poetry, but it's all built upon having a really strong relationship to our incarnation, to our embodiment. And so we're going to turn in this sequence, in this webinar series, to doing some foot exercises, to doing some rod exercises, to work on spiritually massaging and transforming our instrument. And by the way, in the next webinar series, we'll start going more deeply into sounds. Now, what we're going to work with now is called one of our soul exercises. That means these exercises aren't done with poetry, but they're done by creating a feeling in the soul. The first one that we're going to do is called learning to make judgments, to think, not just with the head, the little princess in the tower, but to learn how to think through the whole body. And in this case, we're just doing a very simple thought. I agree, I disagree. Yes, no. Yes, no. So, we're going to do these just with the feet. And when we agree with something, we step into it. So, we say, imagine saying, this is the right castle I'm looking for. And I would take 1, 2, 3 steps forward and then put my right foot forward and say, yes, that's the right one. Or go backwards and say, no, this is not an honest man. Then I'll walk backwards away from it. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and then I end up with my right side, my real side backwards. Now again, I walk forwards and end up with the right foot forwards. Yes, I want to go there. Yes. No, that's not the right place. Yes, it is. Yes. No, it isn't. No. Now, if you watch my foot gestures, I'm alternating between the left and the right. We're looking on screen, so you have to be sure you're not just copying, but thinking your left side. With your left leg, you make a semicircle and step onto your left side, saying, yes, I can go with it. Move your right foot, you make a semicircle backwards, feel yourself withdrawing, and feel that requires might to say no. In some ways, yes is easier than no. Yes, use the left side of the body. Yes, I'll go there. No, that is a lie. Now, without doing these walking forwards and backwards, we'll just practice yesing and knowing. So with your left foot, say, yes, that's right. No, that's wrong. We're alternating between acquiescing and denying. I affirm that one, and I reject that one. Yes. No. Notice how you feel your center by alternating. This is the dance of life. Yes, I agree with that statement. No, not with that one. Yes. No. Now we're practicing not just being in our heads, but now we're yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Now, for just a moment, we'll go through that one more time in alternation. And it's important to feel that you're not holding your breath as you do this. This exercise is actually meant to start getting us to breathe deeply enough through the whole body. A person who is just too much in their head will not be breathing. They'll tend towards the asthmatic type. And this releases through the dam of the rhythmic system into the legs, into the whole being. So again, right foot. Yes. No, release. Yes. No, let your leg movement be free. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. And you make that dramatic big breath so you can feel breathing into each one. Yes. No. Front space. Back space. Right space. Left space, right space, left space, and right space. And do a little self-inventory. Are you breathing deeply? Specifically, this works against shortness of breath, enhancing the power of our lungs. Very good in the time of the disease that attacks the lungs. This makes them so much more robust. Now, we're going to take another journey with our foot exercises with an exercise called sympathy and antipathy. And with this exercise, we're engaging our feeling and our will and strengthening our metabolism. So this is an experience whereby our higher self practices creating a feeling whereby the soul cozies up inside the body. It's warm and delicious inside the body. Friends, although it's summer, I will use this example. It's as if you're putting a luscious hot water bottle in the first part of the exercise, sympathy. And in the second part of the body, we get plunged into the opposite feeling as if we're standing in frigid cold water and we have to wake up. The alternation between going into sympathy or stepping back in antipathy strengthens the power of the self to live in metabolism in the rightful way. Stand on your left foot with your right foot. Very slowly put your foot forward, touch the ground gently with your left foot, with your right foot, excuse me. Feel as if all of your arteries are opening up, your blood is flowing through your belly to the floor. Dream a little bit into your foot, sympathy. As if you have warm water in front of you. Now, you can touch the floor for an instant if you need to for balance, but go backwards and feel, oh, that's cold there. I have to wake up. That takes us back into the head. And release. Again, and very slowly. Sympathy. And backwards. Antipathy. And release. Again, the soul trusts that this is a nice moment to feel warm and cozy. Sympathy. The self dreams into the body and then wakes up. And coldness. Really. Again, make a story for yourself to help you feel this, the story of a warm, gentle hot spring and a frigid bucket of ice. And this is a perfect exercise for people who have weak metabolisms. Sympathy, love, body, and I like to wake up. So many people are not sufficiently grounded to be healthy. This helps to ground us into the temple of the body, activity, sympathy, and empathy. Once again, sympathy. And breathe deeply through your lower body. So we've done our first two of the so-called soul exercises, of which we know they make the etheric body richer, warmer, more lively through our activity of creating certain feelings. The feeling of yes, no teaches the etheric body to wake up and strengthen the rhythmic system. Through the experience of sympathy and antipathy, we're teaching the etheric body to become more metabolic and then practice the excretion, anabolism process and the catabolism process. You'll find more in the PDF file that I wrote to you, and we'll practice it more in the other days. Also in your instructions, I say how often you practice. Now we're going to move on to another lively little exercise built around the sound A. Many of you know the sound A, which consists of crossing your arms. And we cross them firmly. What is the power of this A? A creates boundaries, creates rightful boundaries, creates separations. In doing so, it makes us feel I am here in my body, I'm active, I create safety for myself, and I wake up. What's also behind this is we're finding the midline, the center axis, which is necessary. It's a precursor for the feeling of the ego, the I am. So bring right and left together and cross 8 times. A. A. Don't say it. A. Say it with your body. A. 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 That's the moment. Oh, it's possible to do soft A's or A's in different zones. Many A's are possible. But in this particular exercise, which we call the agility A or the dexterity A, we want to work on being able to cross the midline quickly and briskly. And so in this exercise, we cross as if we're sparking, little sparks of iron. A. A. I'm awake. A. 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 Don't say it. Say it with your body. You should feel a little more sparkly around yourself, especially after having done the sympathy with the sleepy. This wakes you up. Now, we can do many kinds of A's with the legs, crossing the legs, etc. We'll do more of those in other lessons. But for this exercise, we have a particular A, like this. We're going to tap the heel across the legs. So the A, in this case, it's not merely crossing the legs, but the A creates this moment of contact by kicking a leg like this. A. I take my heel and I tap it against the top of the shin bone, not directly on the kneecap, but on that safe space just below the kneecap. A. Other foot. A. Like a little hammer. A. 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 Right? As you continue practicing that, feel what else is being developed
challenged in you is you have to stand really upright when you do it. You have to know where your feet are and click on the foot. You can't do that. That's slouch. Really upright. Okay, try it. You have to do this one only going forward. So I'm going to make a small circle here. A, 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 A. Now it's delightful to do this with the whole circle of children. Now around the whole classroom. If you've got more room, you can do that. By the way, once in a while I teach you an exercise that you could do with children. You could do this with children starting in about third grade or so. Not younger, you don't want to wake them up too much, but this is one of the children's exercises. Now, we're going to practice doing the A with the arms and the legs simultaneously. It's A, 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 A. Walking forward, A, 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 A. I'll just walk backwards. I don't want to click going backwards. And again, A, 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 A. I hope you're feeling alive and kind of fun with this one. This is a little game-like one. Then I tell the children, ride your horses. And then you can think this little verse, awake, awake, and take your way. Be brave today. Hooray, hooray. When Rudolph Steiner teaches us, he says in a delightful way, and then the children might say, teacher, teacher, you're hurting me. I hurt my arms. We say, no problem. It just makes you more awake. So just enjoy that little spark of waking up. We also do this with a little jump skip. And I put the instructions for how to do it in the PDF, but I'm not going to do that with you now. I'll pick it up next week. This week, I want to go take the next step and go to the rod exercises. The first two exercises that I'm going to do with you are just little warm-up exercises. Again, things that you can do with quite young children, first graders, even second graders. And they're not bad for any adult either. They're just lively and fun. Look, this is the one that I could do with my pencil. I'll get my rod in a second. But if you only have a pencil, you can hold it with your hands very close. I'll get my rod. And we're going to practice finger agility. I'll start with my right hand. The rod rests on my thumb while my fingers dance on the rod. What's important is that every single finger touches the rod one after another. And then I rotate around my thumb and my fingers dance below and above and below and above and below. Pretty simple, but in the beginning, well, it's fascinating to do it with children because they can't do that yet. And probably some of you also can't do it, or you do 3 fingers in one. And the idea is to get them all so lively. Good. Okay. One of my patients right now is a flutist. Oh, she can do this so well, and a weaver. So I make a story. The birds are coming to us from the mountain. They're migrating down into the valley. 4 little birds land on the rock. They're the chickadees. Chickadees dance on top and below, and on top and below. I might do that for 30 seconds. And then, because I'm good, you might do it for a minute. And then their friends also come flying down, and they dance above and below and above each finger. So please practice that. And then all of the birds together. Again, a very simple experience. As I go from below to above, You see, I have to kind of wrap my thumbs around the rod. We'll figure that out. Okay. Birds fly away. The birds fly away. Simple exercise, but it's very good. Also, if you have arthritis or stiff fingers, really good to work on that. The second one, a small game with little squirrels. The birds have flown away. You turn to look at a tree. Again, marriages are fun. And there are two squirrels. The squirrels are going to scamper up to the top of the tree as fast as they can. But they jump over each other, and every time they jump, they tag each other. And down again. And the one who gets to the ground, to the bottom first, is proud. But the rule is they have to touch each other. My inner rule in teaching this is that you have to hold the rod absolutely straight. And you'll notice that that's only possible if you're holding your back straight. So this is secretly an exercise to work on your posture. And back again. We won't linger too long on these first exercises. Now we turn. The squirrels have run to a tree branch, and they're going to play games with each other. The one on the right jumps over the one on the left. The one on the left jumps over that one. Now I have the sound A in my arms and crossing. Right over left, left over right, right over left, left over right. Right and left and right and left and right. And we're working on agility. Suddenly, the one on the right says, I am going to play a trick and I'll go underneath. The one on the left says, so can I. The one on the right says, I can do it better, and left and right and left and right and left and right and left and right. Now the game gets even more mischievous. The one on the right goes on top and the left. And the right goes below, and the left. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, left, and rest. Thank you. We can also do that with the legs. A little bit of crossing, but I'll do that with you next week. What I want to do with you now, the first of the four major soul broad exercises, is called the sevenfold exercise. Let me give you a word of preface. We have four major soul exercises and half a dozen others. And we can delineate, the first is for the physical, the second the etheric, the third the astral, and the fourth the ego body. So this first one that we're going to do is working on the physical body and works on really firming up our reliable sense of space. Oh my goodness, this one can be so difficult for dyslexic. I don't do it with children before they're in the second part of the third grade, when they're starting to be more conscious in their bodies. I'll show you the exercise first, and then I'll break it down for you. I will move the rod down 1, up 2, 3 to my right side, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back in the middle. Looks easy, right? And I'll put my rod down to get you started. As soon as possible, we start to do that also with movement, so that we're challenging everything. Friends, I call this one, especially my wake-up exercise, my coffee exercise. It clears the cobwebs out of the head. So, I'd like you to start, even without your rod, by moving your arms down. Feel gravity, position 1. Feel levity, position 2. Now take your right hand, put it out exactly at shoulder height, exactly in front of your shoulder, and then turn your hands to the palms reaching outwards, right side. Now do that with your left hand, rod straight or hand straight in front of the shoulder. Right, left, right here, above with both hands, below with both hands. Again, below, above. Take your right arm, right, left, right, above, go low, back in the middle. Be careful, especially dyslexics, to be sure that you're not doing the wrong arm. Use your head when you do this. Go low, above, my right side, yours, left, right, above, below, in the middle. Got it? Pick up your rod. This one's harder if you only have a pencil. Hold your rod, your hands at shoulder width. With your rod, you feel down this. As I do that, I feel this on many levels, not just in the rod, I feel grounded. Rod up, hands still at shoulder width. Now I feel, in addition to being grounded, I also feel lifted. So I feel both, and I'm very grounded here. Remember what you did with your right arm. You put it out in front of your shoulder, turn the palm out. That's what you're going to do here. Put your arm in that position. And you notice your left arm will swing over and be below your right arm. Now the mirror position to that, left and right, above, below, back in the middle. I wish I could see your faces. I wish I could be there to engage and see which half of you got it right and which half of you got it wrong. It can be so difficult. Below, above, right side, left side, right side, above, below, in the middle. I'll turn my back. Below, above, right, left, right, above, below, in the middle. I don't know if this helps because you can't see my arms very well. Right, above, below, in the middle. Again, and briskly. Earth, sky, right, left, right, above, below, in the middle. And, as I said, I call this my coffee exercise. Through multiple repetitions, you learn to know these different directions in space intimately. And then, in time, you can think your energy body in any direction. You go there, you become really a friend of your energy geometry. All right? Let's try doing that with a step. And we'll take 1 3-fold step with each position. I go lift, carry, down. Lift, carry, up. Lift, carry, right. Lift, carry, left. Lift, carry, right. Lift, carry, up. Lift, carry, down, and feet together. I don't expect that this was easy for you the first time. Let's keep going. Lift, carry. And Eurythmy is a practice. And really discover where it's difficult for you and what your learning edge is. How can you match your hands and your feet in perfect harmony? All right. And I'll do this more quickly now. 1, 2, 3, lift, carry, release, lift, carry, release. Always touching with my toes first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then always at the end of the practice, I like to go slowly. Below, above, right, left, Right. Couple. The love. In the middle. In upcoming weeks, I'll also show you how that trains another capacity in you, the capacity to visualize where you're going before you get there. And that will help in everything else we're doing in Eurythmy. But also in life, how can I really know the space that I stand in and work in? So friends, there's one more exercise that I want to do with you. Some of you have done this with me already, some of you not yet. And this is one of the major soul exercises. We'll do this to close. This exercise builds upon the native experience of the heart expanding and contracting, but in spreading itself, the heart rightfully is experiencing connecting with the world for love. And so this exercise begins by expressing love and then answers that by expressing boundaries. Just as in our biography, we need to be able to go out, and we need to come back and reflect on and work the inner self. So also the heart unleashes its blood and calls it home. So this exercise consists of love and then the sound A. So I will take you through this now 7 times. Spread your arms wide. Feel in both directions. Feel there are hundreds of people with us around the world doing this. Let your hands glide forwards, gliding as if on water, or creating a field of love. Come back to center and create a nice, strong A. Not as sparky as the other A we learned today. Gentle and firm. Love again. Love. Connect. A. Love. A. Love. A. As you get warm, love. A. If you're a person with an anxious heart, use this to calm yourself. Let love be gentle. Don't overextend. Don't overlove. Love gently. No overabundance. Again, if you have high blood pressure, use this to calm yourself. Love. A. On the other hand, if you're a person with low blood pressure, let yourself love more fully. Extend, connect. And with A, awakening up. And one last one. And love. A. With that, we come to the end of this practice, and so fold your arms. Don't sign off yet, just fold your arms. Breathe. When you're at home at this moment, you should lie down, or if you're practicing without me, but I want to take questions with you. At the end of your practice, allow this enlivened etheric body to settle back into you. In doing so, you're imprinting your whole constitution with these wonderful archetypes that we just done. For those of you who studied some anthroposophy and understand what we think of when we go to sleep, we go to the stars and get archetypes and bring them in. When we do Eurythmy, we're doing that very thing. We're going to the stars and imprinting what we normally get at sleep onto ourselves. So many more topics, so many more things to work on. Dear friends, we have a few minutes now. You'll find more instructions for everything we did on the PDF.
Marta asked early on, and Marta, if you are still with us, I wasn't 100% sure of your question, but there was something that was too low. So Marta, if you can clarify that, that would be oh so helpful. In the meantime, there was a question from Sangeetha. Do we do sympathy and antipathy with your left leg?
We stand on the left and we move the right.
There we go.
Again, I've grounded on my left leg and the experience is on my right.
Excellent. And our next question, Claudia. Yes, thank you. I'm glad the rod exercises were fun. Okay. We have practical question from Regine. We received 3 mails with PDF of each class. Are they all the same? I print them, but do not want to print 3 times if they are overlapping.
If you are just talking about in the last 2 days, you received three PDFs. They're the same. Each of them has the title Webinar 3 Lesson 1, so you can check that out.
Excellent. Thank you. And Ayana is asking, with the warm and cold exercise, does the heel not go down?
No.
And do you keep doing it with the same foot?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then we have, from Genevieve, how do we hold the rod? With a fist grip, or does it balance on our thumbs?
If you mean for the little birds, it balances on the thumbs. And for the 7-fold exercise, I have it, I'm holding it with fingers and thumb, but not with the flat of the hand. Here.
Wonderful, thank you. Mm-hmm. And let's see. Lori asked, the PDF for sympathy and antipathy suggests doing sympathy with the right foot and antipathy with the left.
Well, I'll get back in there, and thank you so much for telling me. I'll get that back in there and edit it correctly. Thank you. Thank you. I shall be flayed tonight in my dreams for having made an error. Forgive me.
Now we know. Thank you for telling us. Okay, Sarada says, for kids, do we start squirrel and bird exercises the way you did, or is there something else to initiate?
No, you can start like I do. And it's done with a very light touch. And truly, the little children have a hard time. So it should be a game with them. Eurythmy is done with a completely different feeling with children than with adults, because you as an adult know how to move your mind into different places. The children they're not there yet, and they shouldn't be there yet. So just play with them.
And speaking of children, Sangeetha asks, warm-up exercises for Rod. Do we get a PDF instruction related to do with children?
I will put a little asterisk. I forgot to do it this time, about the couple of exercises that can be done with children, and tell you which ones those are.
Yeah, some of the harder ones, I'll have to give you a different age instruction. But I won't write a separate PDF for you.
Excellent. Karen asked, could you please say a few words about where you did your training?
Yeah, I did it here in California, my first 4 years, with a woman named Jeannie Schwarzkopf and the woman who was her colleague at that time, Karen McPherson, who is now Karen Sherman. And after that, I went to the Goetheanum and I performed on the stage group there for a year and a half, that big stage. And then I went to Stuttgart, Germany, and worked with physicians in a fabulous 2-year therapeutic eurythmy training. And that was the end of my 7 years, and I was launched. And I never stopped learning, never, ever.
Wonderful. Steph asked, with the threefold walking, when putting your foot down, does the toe go first, followed by the heel, then the arch?
No. Toe, arch, heel.
Yes. Would you show her again, please? Steph,
Let's see what you can see here. Let me see. I'll go sideways. I lift heel, arch, toe, behind, beside, in front, toe, arch, heel. So maybe it's just, if there's a misunderstanding, maybe you think that I actually squeeze the arch on the floor. No, you don't. It's just those three, it just settles back onto the heel in kind of a 3-beat measure musically.
That helped. Thank you. Christine asks, is hopping necessary? It's difficult for me.
Especially if you're an adult. No, you don't have to hop. You don't have to hop. I am fully aware that, and also if anyone's got problems with their knees or their hips, no. But there are, as you can be sure, some people who want that agility and want that extra spark. And it's good then to be able to do something lively in eurythmy. I love to teach slow and soft eurythmy, but quick and sparky is also part of our humanness. So the answer to your question is no. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to jump.
Great. Okay, Regine wants to clarify more about the PDFs. She says, I mean the PDF the day before the class, the PDF on the day of the class, and the day after the class. 3 times. Are they the same, or do you make adjustments after the session?
The only adjustment I'm going to make today is to be sure that that we've got the foots correct on the right and the left. Otherwise, they're the same. Yeah, they're the same. So what I send out this afternoon will have a small edit on it. Aside from that, it's just the same. So no, don't print it out again. I'll make you a deal. If I make a major change on it, I'll put that in my Tuesday afternoon message. I'll say, by the way, if you've already downloaded the other one, you only need to look at page 3 to find and print that one. But if I don't say that, then you don't have to reprint it.
Wonderful. Joanna said, could you show us one time how to present it to the children?
Well, I'm not sure if you mean the 7-fold or the little rod exercises. For the I'm not sure which one.
Joanna, why don't you restate your question, and then I will pick it up as I come down the list. Let's see. Comments. Okay, so Joanna says, perhaps whenever we are doing an exercise which could be used with children, you could give us a repetition geared specifically for children so we can get the feel of the different way of presenting it to the children.
Perhaps. I can try to integrate it into it. And this little hesitation that you see is that it's already so full for you. It's already so full for the adults that to turn it around and put an extra 3 minutes in there, I don't know if I can accommodate all of those needs. But as I said, it just needs a light touch and much more story with the children. So I stand in my castle. My castle my castle stands firmly on the ground, and my castle has a high roof. I build the right wall, and I build things like that. It make little stories. But I do acknowledge I have a responsibility to put little asterisks on the PDF and say, this one could be done with children after 5th grade, and so on.
There we go. Rosemary asked, in the yes and no, does the heel touch the floor?
Yes, it does in the yes, no, but it doesn't in the sympathy and antipathy.
There we go. And let's see, Steph said, and the asterisks for children rod exercises. And lots of love coming through, lots of gratitude.
Save the chat, Michelle.
Yes, I promise. Hold on. Kindly add age group to the revised PDF. See you next week. There we go. And we are there. Thank you, Cynthia.
Dear people, it means so much to me. And believe me, to tell you what it's like for me, I stand here. I can't see any of you. I'm just here with my own little space, feeling you. And then when you talk back to me, even virtually, it's kind of like our conversation becomes richer. So thank you for your thank yous. Emails are always welcome. And I hope I served you. I hope I brought you things that will enrich you. And see you next week.